Stop waiting to be fearless or feeling no fear before you do something. You have to do it in the face of fear.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the KTS Success Factor podcast for women, where we talk about challenges senior female leaders face in being happy and successful at work. I'm your host, Dr. Shirell E. Brown.
My guest today is Shirell A. Gross, Esquire. She's had a successful career as a senior executive in Fortune 500 companies. Most recently, she was vice president, division counsel, and head of law for Bayer's pharmaceutical radiology business. In that role, she had numerous responsibilities, including global and North American management teams, overseeing legal support for the worldwide commercial business, and the support functions of product supply, regulatory, communications, policy, quality, and its informatics business. Before this role, she was the global head of law for Bayer's diabetes care business. She served on AdvaMed, which is a medical device trade association, where she was on the board's legal committee. She's currently a board member for Executive Women of New Jersey, whose mission is to advocate for greater gender diversity of senior leadership in corporations. Recently, she left corporate America in order to have an even greater impact on helping others by becoming a certified life coach and starting her own firm. She now supports others through her new company, Measure of Ambition, LLC, which you might know as doing business as Shirell Speaks. She provides keynote speaking, workshops, and coaching services. She also sponsors women empowerment events. Shirell has been recognized by Savoy magazine as one of the most influential Black lawyers in America and was the featured executive in the Q3 July 2019 issue of Profile magazine. She's been described as dedicated to growth. She's also received numerous professional awards, including BlackDoctors.org's Top Blacks in Healthcare, Hofstra University School of Law's Outstanding Women in Law, the YWCA of Bergen County Women of Influence honoree, and Assemblywoman Shabanda Sumter's Women's History Month honoree. Shirell is completing a book in which she describes her reset, upbringing, personal hardships, and career laddering, while noting lessons she's learned along the way. Welcome, Shirell. Glad to have you.
Thank you. I love listening to the bio because I always say, wow, okay. It's always good to have those affirming words about your own self. So thank you.
What a great history that you got. So tell us a little bit about the challenge that you're helping female leaders face today, and perhaps you'll describe some of the symptoms of that challenge.
If I could categorize it in two simple buckets, what I would probably say is, how can we get out of our own way? And so that's one bucket. And then the second bucket would be, how can I help them have a greater awareness of what's going on with them right now? And so for me, when you look at the first bucket, and they're very interrelated. So the first bucket and getting out of our own way, it's not just a systemic structure that we need to understand and how to navigate it. What do we do in navigating that, and what type of skills do we need to develop in order to successfully navigate it? But it's also about how do we allow sort of fear and self-doubt to get in our way of becoming all that we can be and fully self-actualize, And then the second bucket, sort of related to the first one, because it's how do we stay in present awareness so that we're not always thinking about the past and we're not worried about the future, but, where are we today? And when you have an understanding, of your present awareness, number one, you don't over exaggerate things that are not true, because most of the time the over exaggeration can be in the form of not feeling like you're good enough or not qualified, you don't have the right skills, or feeling like the impact of a failure is going to be so much more than what it is. And so I try to spend a lot of time in helping people understand like how our mind naturally works, because when they have a greater awareness of that, it really does put things in the proper context. So, I would kind of say that they fall in those two buckets. And so if you look at, from the second part of the question is, what are the symptoms of that challenge? The symptoms of the challenges that women are facing and that we need to either get out of our own way or have a better awareness is that we don't, one, understand our value fully. We don't take risk because we're afraid of failing. And we don't understand the benefit that our presence and our words and our actions can have within the organization. We typically minimize it. And so, those are the symptoms. And as you know, because you've been in corporate and business, that all of that has a downstream impact. Because, we often separate our work and our life, right? But there's really no true separation. One, you bring yourself to work every day. And then two, many of the things that you suffer from personally, you tend to bring to work, and it manifests itself professionally. And some of the things that you have in terms of fears of self-doubt or self-confidence that you experiencing as a result of work environment, you tend to bring into your personal life, right? So that's why the awareness to me has, I'm so passionate about it, because I think when you have that awareness, it really has a true benefit in your personal and your professional life.
So what would you say is the biggest mistakes your clients make before they start working with you?
The biggest mistake the clients make before they start is that they've already made conclusions that are firm about situations. When they come into the experience, because they've made certain firm decisions, they've made certain actions and conclusions about what their life, the professionally or personally, will be, right? So their expectation is already established. And so they've acted out on those expectations before they even they come to me, right? So for example, you have a client that may be stuck and they want to go get ahead in their career. They really don't know what to do. And so they've already made the decision that they either are not going to be able to be successful in that organization. And so they've had actions that actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy before that, or they've already made the decision that they're going to suck it up and stay in a limited environment. So they've had actions that have already, made them act in accordance with that decision. Or so, there are firm decisions that they've made and they've acted out on those firm decisions before. And so what you have to do is go back and revisit them. Sometimes you can repair, what has been done. And sometimes it's also making them see that there is a big world out there, right? I mean, this is a big world. We get so trapped in our current situation and letting people believe that we are this and this is all we can do. And it's like, there's such a big world out there that you're not really as trapped as you think you are. So that means not showing up in your full self. That means not speaking up. That means not taking on risk assignments. That means not being clear about what you want out of your career to your boss or to your higher management. That means accepting whatever anyone gives to you. That means not getting the skill set that you need to get in order to proceed. But that also means not knowing that when you don't need that skill set to proceed. So it's all of those things that have not been done before they come that you need to start addressing.
So what is the number one free and actionable tip you can give our listeners to address this challenge now?
I find that we get too much information and not enough action, right? And so my tip would be to create action, no matter how small, and stop constantly looking for the silver bullet to the answer to all of your problems. Not to say that certain things won't bring enlightenment and that I have a passion for learning. I learn all the time, right? I'm obsessed right now with Maslow's theory of hierarchy and the full value of self-actualization, and I'm reading everything about it. So it's not to say that you don't continue your learning trajectory. It's just that stop using learning as a crutch to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's particularly women who are professional because you're intelligent and you've already had so much success, and we keep learning. So my free tip would be stop learning about something and take an action step and identify what that action step is and take it, and then take the next one, and then take the next one, and then take the next one. But take an action step.
Very interesting. So what is a valuable free resource you can share with the women who are listening now to help them understand this challenge better?
Yeah. Well, I haven't, created at this point a free resource that I could, email to everyone, because that is something I am working on. But I do on LinkedIn. I do Motivational Mondays and Take It on Tuesday. That on my LinkedIn post, and my personal Facebook. My business Facebook page, which is at Shirell Speak. So I post those on Monday and Tuesdays. And then on my website, I do have a website, and I have, a blog, that I will post on there. But the best place that they can really find real concrete advice is Monday and Tuesdays on my LinkedIn and on my business Facebook, and on my Instagram at Shirell Speaks. I focus those platforms to give basically free information. And then once in a while, I will plan a free, seminar. Like this week, I'm focusing on self-care and resetting. Mm-hmm. And so I will be bringing on two or three speakers this week to talk about self-care. And so they should follow me, because that's where I tend to post, messages, but I do consistently do it Monday and Tuesdays on those platforms.
Terrific. I'm going out there right after we hang up. Then,
yes.
So what's one question that I should have asked you that will help our audience take action to address this challenge? And then would you mind answering the question?
Yeah. So I think the one question that I do speak a lot about and I write a lot about is, what is the most common thing that you see that are holding women back that they actually can have some control over? And I would say that the fear is the most common, and it is what women tend to not want to address first or at all, because they believe that it will open a big Pandora's box and that it cannot be solved. And the fear comes into play in so many different ways, because it can be a fear of self-doubt, a fear of disappointment, fear of failure, a fear of an unknown path, and not understanding that once you get down to the fear trail, the road just goes on and on and on, because then the fears, you then make up new fears, right? Fear of trying a yoga class, fear of, doing anything. And so I think that is what I see most often, actually, because women are completely smart, they're powerful, they're resilient. That's not the problem. And so it's the fear, but it's not taking action against the fear and trying to hide it or make it go away. And it's not going to go away. And so it only builds, because when you bring awareness to it, you can address it. Anything you don't bring awareness to, it just keeps gnawing at you. And so I would say that I see that most often. I see that most often, and I see it impacting their personal and their professional life. And I just want them to understand that actually you could deal with the fear, you can address it, because there's a problem with what we've been telling people in general about being fearful. You're never going to feel fearless forever. It's not going to happen. You are going to have fear. So stop waiting to be fearless or feeling no fear before you do something. You have to do it in the face of fear. And once you take that step, the next step, the fear on that issue becomes less, and you have another fear that pops up. And so stop waiting to be fearless, and stop allowing people to yell at you and tell you, you got to be fearless. You can't be afraid, because that's not true. You are going to be afraid. And it's okay. You know why? Because fear is a human emotion. The same way joy is an emotion, fear is an emotion. No one tells you don't feel joy. But everyone always tells us don't feel fair. And that's not going to happen. So that is the one thing that I say I see consistently and that I try to bring awareness to and try to help them move in the face of fear and realize that as a human mind, we are so much more resilient than we think we are. And you won't know that until you just start moving.
Shirell, thank you so much for talking with us today. This has been great.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to go out to your LinkedIn page and get
Please.
motivated myself.
Yes. No problem. Thank you. Thanks
Thanks.
for having me.